Thanks for joining me in the Listen Up Girl podcast, where I bring you 10 minutes or less of LGBTQ plus news. I'm your host, Zach Randles-Friedman. Today is Sunday, August the 10th. My first story is about the WNBA. They are cracking down on dildo-throwing pranksters. The league is asking fans to stop throwing sex toys into the court after a string of bizarre incidents over the past few weeks. It all started on July 29th during a game between Atlanta and Golden State, where, according to ESPN, a green dildo was tossed into the court, halting play. While some players and fans chuckled, police quickly got involved. 23-year-old Dilbert Carver was arrested and charged with indecent exposure, trespassing, and disorderly conduct. Reports that at least 4 more dildos have been thrown at games since then, one even hitting people in the stands. Police say that the incidents might be linked to a viral meme coin stunt. An 18-year-old Caden Lopez also arrested, admitting to the police it was just a stupid prank. A WNBA spokesperson told Rolling Stone that the safety and well-being of everyone in our arenas is a top priority. The league is warning that anyone caught throwing objects can expect at least a 1-year ban and possible criminal charges. Los Angeles Sparks coach Lynn Roberts summed it all up bluntly. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, and it's dangerous. I see why you would think it's funny, but it's really stupid, so why don't you keep your dildos at home and use them for what they're for, and not throw them at people in the stands, too, and hitting somebody in the back of the head with a dildo. Next, the Premier League ends partnership with Stonewall's Rainbow Laces. In the world of English football, a major partnership is coming to an end. After 8 years, the Premier League is parting ways with Stonewall's Rainbow Laces campaign, a widely recognized effort to promote LGBTQ plus inclusion in sports. The Telegraph reports that instead, the league will launch its own inclusive program in February of 2026 to align with LGBTQIA plus History Month. The decision, the league says, follows intensive consultation with clubs, fans, groups, and other stakeholders. The new initiative will keep zero tolerance for discrimination at its core while continuing to offer education and support through community programs. BBC Sports sources say the league will work closely with clubs to ensure visibility for LGBTQ plus inclusion doesn't disappear. Stonewall called the shift the natural ebb and flow of partnerships and credited the Premier League and particularly the Women's Super League with helping the Rainbow Laces campaign reach more diverse audiences. Next, we have a Real Housewives story with Martina Navratilova's surrogacy criticism sparks a clapback from Andy Cohen. So tennis legend Martina, who is married to Julia of the Real Housewives of Miami, is no stranger to speaking her mind, but her latest comments have sparked a heated debate in the LGBTQ plus community. In a since-deleted social post, Martina wrote, "Surrogacy is just wrong. Sometimes you can't have it all." That did not sit well with Bravo host Andy Cohen, who has 2 children via surrogates. Cohen pushed back, defending surrogacy as a vital pathway for LGBTQ plus families who can't have children any other way. The exchange has reignited a long-standing conversation within queer spaces and ethics, accessibility, and an importance of reproductive choice. I agree with Andy. If you have the money and you want to have someone to have your child for you through a surrogate, you should be allowed to do whatever you want. Because Andy wanted kids that were part of his DNA and part of him, and I agree, he should be able to do what he wants. And if Martina doesn't agree with it, because they just adopted 2 children, her and her wife, and you're allowed to do that too. So do whatever works for you, but don't start telling other people how to do it. Next story is the show Wednesday. The creators break Wenclair shippers' hearts. One of Netflix's most passionate fan bases just had their dreams dashed. For 2 seasons, viewers of Wednesday have speculated about, and in many cases openly hoped for, a romance between Wednesday Addams, played by Jenna Ortega, and her werewolf roommate, Enid Sinclair, played by Emma Myers. But in a new interview with The Decider, series creators Alfred Gough and Miles Miller confirmed it's not going to happen. The Wenclair fandom erupted on social media with disappointment, calling it a missed chance for meaningful queer representation and one of Netflix's biggest hits. While Gough and Miller say their characters will remain close friends, fans aren't convinced that's enough. Next, the U.S. Air Force blocks early retirement for trans service members. A policy change in U.S. Air Force has LGBTQ plus advocates sounding the alarm. A memo obtained by Reuters show that as of August 4th, trans service members with 15 to 18 years of service are no longer eligible for a temporary early retirement authority program, also known as TARA. Instead, they must either accept a lump sum separation payment typically offered to junior troops or be discharged entirely. Attorney Shannon Leary, who specializes in LGBTQ plus discrimination cases, told the Associated Press the decision is arbitrary and cruel, noting that it disproportionately punishes service members who have devoted decades of their life to the military. The Air Force has yet to publicly explain its reasoning. Once again, targeting trans people is horrible, and they need to give the same benefits to a trans person compared to a non-trans person. So I hope that they win this battle. Trump is being a child. He is scolding the press for not applauding trans sports bans. At a recent press conference, Donald Trump paused his remarks to address what apparently saw a lack of enthusiasm in the room. Referring to his stance on banning transgender women from women's sports, Trump looked around and said, "It's amazing the way I don't hear any applause for that when everyone feels it." The moment has been widely criticized by LGBTQ plus advocates who see it as another example of Trump using trans issues as a political wedge and rallying cry for his base. The next story is a little bizarre, in my opinion. Fashion designer Rick Owens has never been one to play it safe, and his latest charitable project is no exception. Owens revealed on Instagram that he's launched an OnlyFans account dedicated entirely to the videos of his feet. All of the proceeds, he says, will go to L'Homme d'Alana, a trans charity in France. As of now, the account has 7 posts, and Owens says the project is more than just fundraising. It's also about pushing creative boundaries and encouraging unconventional ways of supporting marginalized communities. Puerto Rican drag icon Jasmine Jimenez passes away, and the community is mourning the loss of Jasmine internationally. She is known off stage as Jasmine Jimenez, a beloved Puerto Rican trans drag entertainer. Out.com reports that she was celebrated not just for her talent, but for her warmth, generosity, and joy. Tributes from drag queens, celebrities, and fans have poured in across social media, remembering her as a trailblazer who barriers and inspired countless people in the process. Rosie O'Donnell is back in the news and warns Trump could target the show The View. She is sounding the alarm over what she believes could be the next target for Donald Trump's political influence: the long-running daytime talk show The View. In a TikTok post, Rosie pointed to reports that ABC is reviewing the liberal bias of the show, which she co-hosted in the past. Her comments came shortly after CBS announced its canceling of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. O'Donnell said the move should be taken seriously, calling it part of the broader push to silence progressive voices in mainstream media. Next is Grindr. It launches an entertainment hub. This is the world's largest popular queer dating app, is moving into the content space. The company has launched Grindr Presents, a hub for original videos, music, cultural editorials, and curated playlists. The app says the goal is to keep users engaged beyond just swiping and chatting, while also providing a platform for LGBTQ plus creators and stories. My next story is about someone who I used to really like. Please notice I use the word used to. Sydney Sweeney becomes MAGA icon after a jeans ad backlash. So Sydney Sweeney is on the show Euphoria, which is where I first seen her, which is an HBO show, which I adore and love. And she thought her latest gig as the face of American Eagle denim campaign would be straightforward. Instead, the ad has become a political lightning rod. Right-wing critics initially blasted the ad, but the backlash triggered its own backlash, turning Sweeney into an unexpected poster child for the MAGA movement. The actress hasn't commented publicly, but the situation has become a case study of how quickly celebrities can get pulled into America culture wars. And just to give you a little more background, it was reported that she is a huge MAGA Republican supporter, and I don't think anybody would have suspected that of Sydney Sweeney, but now she is losing probably a majority of her fans. Emerald Fennell, fresh off the controversy of Saltburn, is already generating strong reactions with her latest project, a gothic and by some accounts, provocative adaptation of Wuthering Heights. According to the World of Real, and a recent Dallas testing screenings left audience simply divided. Some praised its boldness, while others, at least one viewer, called it aggressively provocative and tonally abrasive. Fennell has built a reputation for leaning into discomfort, and if early reports are any indication, she's doubling down. Nancy Pelosi vows to protect trans kids amid care restrictions. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is pledging to fight back as more hospitals across the U.S. scale back or end gender-affirming care for minors. Pelosi said she will work with advocates and lawmakers to protect access, calling the current rollback a coordinated attack on trans youth. And also in politics, Pete Buttigieg is criticized over trans athlete comments. Transportation Secretary, long regarded as one of the most prominent openly gay politicians in the U.S., is taking heat for remarks about transgender athletes. Critics say his comments fail to fully defend trans inclusions in sports and reflect a troubling trend among Democrats, distancing themselves from trans issues after Kamala Harris in 2024's election loss. For many advocates, the disappointment is personal. Buttigieg has built his political brand in representing LGBTQ plus communities and explaining complex issues with empathy. Staying in our political stories, Nancy Mace melts down over infrastructure question. So Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina had an uncomfortable exchange at the Myrtle Beach Town Hall this week, after a female reporter asked why she took credit for a highway interchange funded by bipartisan infrastructure law, a bill she voted against. Mace lashed out. Local news outlets report that Transportation Secretary Pete also publicly called her out for touting a project made possible by legislation she opposed. And my last story is Trump has already achieved most of Project anti-LGBTQ goals. So according to the Project 2025 tracker, President Donald Trump has already completed 69% of the anti-LGBTQ plus policy goals laid out by the Christian nationalist think tank, the Heritage Fund, for his second term. The tracker lists 18 LGBTQ plus related goals in total. 11 are marked complete, 3 in progress, and 4 not started. Advocates warn that the speed and scope of the changes signal an aggressive rollback of the LGBTQ rights in the U.S. And that is my news for Sunday, August 10th. Please be sure to subscribe to my podcast, also leave a comment and a rating, and listen to my other show, Everything and Anything and a Bit Gay. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate your support and have a great week.